Write down everything written in black. You do not need to write down what is in blue. A worker has to drive her car as part of her job. She receives money from her company to pay for the gas she uses. The table shows a proportional relationship between y, the amount of money that the worker receives, and x, the number of work-related miles driven. So we have our mileage rates, we have a distance driven, and then an amount of money received, y in dollars. So the first part says, explain how to compute the amount of money the worker receives for any number of work-related miles. Based on your explanation, write an equation that can be used to determine the total amount of money, y, the worker receives for driving x work-related miles. Enter your explanation in the equation in the space provided below. Because this is a proportional relationship, we can use unit rate in an equation in the form y equals mx to relate the number of miles to the amount of money. So first, we'll calculate unit rate from one given data point. Since we have a proportional relationship, 1 point is all we need. And we'll use the last point, 50 miles, and 25.50 for the amount of money received. So we know that unit rate is y divided by x, so that means we're going to take 25.50 divided by 50, which gives us 51 cents per mile. Therefore, to answer the first part, since a worker receives 51 cents for each mile, you can multiply the number of miles times 51 cents to find the total amount of money he or she would receive. Now the second part is to plug in your value for unit rate for m in our equation y equals mx. So we have y equals mx. We plug in where we see m, we replace that with 0.51. So we get y equals 0.51x, where x is the number of miles and y is the total amount of money. And that's all we need to do for part A. So part B says on Monday, the worker drove a total of 134 work-related and personal miles. She received $32.13 for the work-related miles she drove on Monday. What percent of her total miles driven were work-related on Monday? Show or explain your answer. Enter your answer in your work or explanation in the space provided. To be able to find the percent that was work-related, we need to first find the number of work-related miles, and then second, use the percent equation to find your percent. So the first part we're going to be taking care of is finding the work-related hours. To find the work-related hours, we need to plug 32.13 into our equation for y. Remember that y represents the total cost. When we solve it, we'll be finding x, and that's going to be the work-related miles. So we take y equals 0.51x, we plug in 32.13 for y, we divide both sides by 0.51, and that gives us exactly 63 for x. Remember that when we're getting rid of things in equations, we have to do the inverse operation. So since we have 0.51 times x, we undo 0.51 by dividing both sides by 0.51. Therefore, the worker traveled 63 miles for work. So second, now that we have the amount of miles for work, we can find the percent. To find a percent, plug what you know into the percent equation. Remember that our percent equation is part equals percent over 100 times the whole. The part is 63 and the whole is 134. Remember above it says what percent of her total miles. Of means the whole, so that means her total miles would be the whole amount, and the part is 63. That's the part that she traveled for work. So we replace the part with 63, we replace the whole with 134, and we end up with 63 equals m over 100 times 134. First step to solving this, we want to get rid of 134. Since right now it's being multiplied, we undo that by dividing both sides by 134. That cancels out 134 on the right side, and we end up with 0.47 on the left side. So we have 0.47 equals m over 100. Then our last step is to be able to get rid of that 100. So that means we have to get rid of division by multiplying both sides by 100. When we multiply both sides by 100, we see that m, our percent, is 47%. So her work-related miles were 47% of her total miles.